Mermaid in a Teacup, written by Stephen Cosgrove, illustrated by Caroline Laporte. Mermaid in a Teacup, a story from Hattie McGruder's diary. My name is Hattie McGruder, and I found a mermaid. I found a real live mermaid that is only 6 inches long. I am telling the truth. There are others who are not telling the truth. Tejas and Tori have been misinformed and hoodwinked and bamboozled. They say that the mermaid was nothing more than a silly toy that wasn't ever alive. They say mermaids can't possibly be real. That's how I know they've been misinformed and hoodwinked and bamboozled. I have proof that mermaids are real. The proof is in my diary. I'm going to let you read it exactly as I wrote it 3 weeks ago when I found a very real mermaid. Special note: I am only going to show you the parts of my diary that are about the mermaid. I won't let you read about what happened when Tori got scared at the movies. It'd be unfair to tell about how she jumped out of her seat and showered 3 rows of people with popcorn. And I definitely am not going to let you read about super equestrian Tejas, the time he slipped in the mud. Trying to climb on a pony out of fear is his own business. So don't think that I'm leaving as something about my very best friends just because I skipped some stuff. The proof. Diary, day 93. Tejas and Tori are coming over today for our 3rd annual back-to-school picnic. Hey, they're here. I'll write longer later. Diary, day 93. Continued later. You will never in a billion years guess what happened. I found a mermaid. She is the coolest little thing you have ever seen. She's only about 6 inches long and is a real live mermaid. I dressed her in some Barbie clothes. They fit her perfectly. She didn't need any jeans or anything. Right now she is sitting in a teacup filled with water on my bedside table watching me write. Wait a minute, I'm getting too far ahead. The whole thing started when Tejas and Tori came to get me for a picnic. Ever since we were in the 1st grade, we have had the picnic on the 1st weekend after school starts. Now we're 3rd graders, and this time we were going to actually go somewhere besides my backyard. This year, we were supposed to go to River Park. My dad was going to take us, but he got stuck in a meeting or whatever. None of us wanted to just eat our picnic in my backyard. That is so 2nd grade. Now the good thing about my yard is that it backs up to the Ledbetter's dairy farm. They have hundreds of acres for a farm for the cows to graze on. At the edge of their pasture is a monstrous boulder called Crying Rock. They call it Crying Rock because water seeps down from the mountain and drips over the rock and makes the rock look like it is crying. We decided to have our annual picnic at Crying Rock. I'm allowed to go through the pasture as long as no cows are in the field. There weren't any cows out today, so the rock sounded like the perfect place for our picnic. We ran all the way to Crying Rock because we didn't want the cows to get out before we made it. We would have to turn back. We got the giggles, which didn't help at all. Even though I knew the rules, Tori was worried that we were going to get in trouble. She just wanted to eat and go home. Tejas always did what Tori wanted, so we ate our sandwiches really fast. I probably wouldn't have found the mermaid at all if Tori hadn't noticed that her bracelet was missing. She wanted to go back the way we came to see if she had dropped it. Tetris always goes wherever Tori goes. The two of them climbed down from the rocks and ran back across the field. While they were gone, I decided to climb higher on the rocks to see if I could see them. I climbed and climbed. There was almost a path that led up around the crying part of the rock. When I got nearly to the top, I stopped and looked down. Off to the side, I could see Tori and her shadow, Tejas walking toward the trees. I was just starting down when I heard a voice coming from above me. I listened carefully. I could not understand the words, but it sounded like someone was singing. It was really pretty. There were little notches in the face of the rock, and I started climbing. It wasn't easy, but going up is always easier than coming down. The singing was louder now, and I could tell that it was coming from the ledge just above my head. I pulled myself up and over the top. The ledge was covered in a mossy carpet. In the middle of the ledge was a small pool of sparkling clear water. The climb up the rock and soapy chips I had eaten earlier made me thirsty. I crawled over to the pool on my hands and knees, bent over and took a big sip. I just leaned down to take another drink when I saw an odd reflection in the water. At first I thought it was a frog and I almost screamed. My heart and my throat. I looked and then looked again. It wasn't a frog. It was a tiny mermaid sitting half in the water, leaning over a rock with her hand toward me. She held her hat in her hands, and she was saying softly. She had red hair kind of like mine. I didn't say a word. I just knelt there leaning out over the water. My nose couldn't have been more than 12 inches from her back. I don't know why I did it, but I reached over and carefully scooped her up with my hand. She stared up at me in surprise at first, then appeared to be as curious about me as I was about her. I pulled back from the water, sat back on my heels, and looked at what I held in my hands. She looked back at me. Then her eyes kind of went black, closed, and her body was stiff in my hand. I thought I scared her or something. I laid her down on the ledge and ran my finger down her fishtail. Rather than she looked more like a toy doll than a real mermaid. I felt really bad, thinking maybe I had scared her stiff, but then she opened her eyes. She looked up at me and blinked a couple of times. She looked over toward the water and then back at me. Then she closed her eyes and went stiff again. I wondered what was going on. In the distance, I could hear Tori and Tejas calling my name. I'm here! I shouted excitedly. I'm coming down! Wait until you see what I found! With the mermaid gripped gently in my hand, I climbed down from the rock. I was so excited. It's not every day you find a 6-inch mermaid. This is where the misunderstanding started with Tejas and Tori. I showed them what I had found, but the mermaid wouldn't wake up. My two bamboozle friends tried to comfort me. They said it was okay if I wanted to play with dolls. They said I didn't have to make up stories. They even offered to play too. I informed my friends that if I wanted to play dolls with them, I'd just ask. But this was not about playing dolls. This was about a mermaid, a real-life mermaid. And there it is, my proof. Now you've read it too. But now what do? I've got a mermaid in a teacup, but every time I show her to someone, she gets stiff like a doll. I think I'll get my dad's video camera and make a movie. I'll show what happens when I take her back to her pool. Everybody believes the movies almost as much as they believe what they read in diaries. Love, Hattie McGruder.